Middle school cross-country training is different than high school training. We're not just going to take high school training and water it down for our middle schooler. We're going to be doing a different type of training for middle school athletes. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. My name is Jay Johnson. I'm a former Division I coach at the University of Colorado. I've also coached 3 U.S. champions, 1 in cross-country. Okay, what we're going to talk about here is we're going to go week by week for 2 different types of athletes. Athletes who ran track in the spring, as well as athletes who have no prior athletic training or have not done any sports, okay? So these are 2 totally different types of athletes. I'm gonna walk you through 12 weeks of training in the summer every single day. We're also gonna talk about speed development. We're gonna talk about a warm-up that they should be doing. We're going to talk about the post-run strength and mobility our middle school athlete needs to do. Okay, I hope you will watch this, and if you can't watch it now, you can bookmark it. This is a concise video, but it's longer than most YouTube videos, and I hope you'll give me a little bit of grace. The first 5 or 6 minutes, my energy isn't quite as good as it is now. It's solid, but this information is fantastic. At the end of the video, you'll want to stick around for that because I'm going to tell you how to get all the PDFs that I referenced that we're going through in this video, okay? It's a 15-page PDF. It's everything a middle school coach needs to get their team going in the summer. All right, enjoy. All right, let's talk about middle school cross-country training. I'm so glad that you want to invest in this. The phrase we're going to talk about is long-term development. That's the underlying thing when we talk about middle school cross-country training is, you know, we want to take somebody who's 12 years old at some point in their 6th grade year. And honestly, if they're coming into their 6th grade year, they might be 11, right? But why don't we use the 12-year-old? And we want to say that the 12-year-old is going to be better as a freshman in high school at 15. And then they're going to be better as a senior in high school at 18. And if they want to run in college, their fastest running in college should happen when they're 22. So now the math was really easy. We want to have a 10-year plan for that 12-year-old to being a 22-year-old athlete. I'm not saying every athlete needs to run in college, but you would feel horrible if you did things in 6th and 7th and 8th grade that's going to prohibit them from being an excellent athlete in college. And then the final thing I want to put on this is, hey, what if they wanted to run at the Olympic trials and the U.S. Olympic marathon trials at 32? Now we're looking from 12 to 32, okay? So when we talk about long-term development, I want you to say, what is 20 years from now for this young learner? I'm using that term young learner from Dr. Jeff Messer. I think it's a fantastic term that gets us grounded into who these humans are, okay? All right. Here we go. We're going to go point by point what you need to study, and then I'll highlight some points about what's in here. There's a lot of PDFs. You're going to have to look at them, and then you'll have all the training you need for your middle school team. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is read this article, Middle School Cross-Country Training. There's some free information at the bottom of this. What I'm about to go into is the information you get being part of the cross-country training system. But this is an article. I'll link to it below this video. You can also just Google my name and middle school cross-country. It'll come up. One of the things, let's talk about this here. I've set up this progression of volume, and I wanted to work backwards, right? If we're saying their senior year, you had an athlete run 55 miles a week in the summer and 55 and 60 miles a week in the winter, then we just go down. And when you read this article, you'll find, holy cow, maybe this incoming 6th grader is only running 10 miles a week. Maybe the incoming 7th grader who ran track with me in 6th grade and is going to run cross country is 10 to 15. And maybe the 8th grader is only 15. This is a lot less than you might have planned on having athletes run, but you really need to trust this. So it's pretty detailed. One thing I'll highlight here, I talk about 4 seasons, which is summer training, cross country, winter training, outdoor track. So when we look at an athlete's 8th grade year, you know, they enjoyed running track as a 7th grader. Let's think of 4 opportunities for them to have fun and also for them to increase their mileage. And I think that's really helpful when we look at these athletes here in high school saying, hey, 25, 35, 45, 50. And if you're in a state where boys have to run 70 miles a week or 80 miles a week, 80 is maybe a little much, but there are some states, I'm thinking of Illinois and California might be states where, hey, if you want to be a competitive boy, we're looking at 70. I'm not convinced. I'm the father of 2 girls who have potential to be good runners. I wouldn't want to see them running more than about 50 or 55 in high school. And this is something that's in here too, where I talk about my experience as a Division I coach and a junior college coach, where we saw a lot of athletes who were really good as middle school athletes who ended up not being good collegiate athletes. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in here. Now, again, this is a free article, and so let's hop in now to the things that you get as part of the cross-country training system. Let's hop into the real training, but make sure you read that article. It's about a 25-minute read. Prior to shooting this video, I thought, oh my gosh, they're not going to want to read for 20 minutes. Hey, we're taking the long-term view, and I know you care about these kids. Take the time to read that article. Okay, here we go. We're going to talk about this type of athlete who in 12, this is a 12-week plan, and we're going to say they ran track prior to coming to you. So to be honest, we're talking about 7th and 8th graders now, but in the next program, or excuse me, the next training schedule I'll go through, we're going to talk about people who are coming out of elementary school. Okay. Now, this might not look like a lot because it's a 10-minute run, it's 4 strides, and then we're doing post-run work. But here's what I want you to remember about this. We're doing a dynamic warm-up, and when you're watching this, it's probably Jeff Bollet's warm-up, okay? So I don't need to change that there. So that warm-up, that very first day, it's a 13-minute warm-up once kids learn it, but it's going to take you 20 minutes to teach them that day. And then we're going to do 10 minutes of running, and then we're going to do some strides after that. This is a little different than this idea of when we're doing strides as part of the run. On this run, we're doing it adding on. We're letting them talk a little bit. I wouldn't think they would need water, but they can have some breaks. So now we're looking at 20 minutes of to teach that warm-up. That's the most important point of the day. And if you read that article, you know that we're really trying to make better athletes. We're trying to create better athletes, and that warm-up is really important in that process. So 20 minutes, 10 minutes of running, we'll say 5 or 6 minutes of strides. Now we're at 35, 36 minutes, and now we're going to do the post-run work. Typically, the red easy post-run would only take about 10, 12 minutes, but this first day it's going to take about 15 minutes. So we've got a 50-minute workout, right? And if you're looking at this saying, Jay, I don't understand how we're just going to run 10 minutes the first day and be ready to run well later in the season, just trust me on this. Remember, and I'll zoom in here to make this point bigger. Your number one goal with a middle school kid is for them to have fun. And how are they going to have fun? They're going to have fun staying injury-free, right? When kids have fun, they enjoy our sport, and that's number one. But if they're injured, they're not going to have fun. So let's keep these goals and these equations very simple. Injury-free leads to consistency, leads to fast running. That's what we're talking about for high school athletes. With middle school, it's just injury-free leads to I get to race, leads to I have fun when I'm with my friends racing. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit later about where we're going to get into this in terms of being ready to run later. Okay, we're going to do a circuit. This day is 15 to 20 minutes. Now we're getting after it a little bit in the second day. Warm-up's going to take some time to learn, 20 minutes. Now we're doing 15, 20 minutes of a circuit, but we don't do post-run work here. We're just doing Jeff's barefoot routine because in the circuit, we already did the exercises. If you don't know what circuits are, these are these running circuits, and I'll link to where these are in the cross-country training system, but we're running some amount of distance, and then we're doing exercises from the post-run work. Okay. So I have a 4-page document. It's got QR codes that you can scan with your phone to look at the exercises and whatnot. I'll put the link in here. The one thing we're going to change for the middle schooler, in those documents, I talk about running 300 meters in between the exercises. You can run as little as 100 meters or 150 or 200 meters in this first in this first day here, because I would rather have you do more general strength exercises and less running, right? Because it improves our ability to keep them injury free. Okay, I think a lot of kids can take Wednesday off, and it says note they could take the day off or do a 5-minute run. And then 4 by 100 meter strides on the turf. I didn't say this initially with the strides. They can be at a park. They can be at a trailhead. I think that AstroTurf with the ground up tire type, surface that you have at a lot of football fields is ideally where we want to be today. Okay, Thursday, we're just replicating Monday. We're doing our dynamic warm-up. We're doing 10-minute run with strides, red easy. I'm not going to go through every single day the way I'm going through this first week. What I want to highlight here is a serious kid who's serious about middle school. I mean, not crazy serious, but who wants to be good. Let's start to encourage them to say, hey, let's start understanding what this warm-up is, right? So I really think most of you are going to want to do Jeff's warm-up. I put dynamic warm-up here because at one point I thought maybe we should be doing a little bit less than the warm-up. And I'll be honest, there might be iterations in the cross-country training system in the future where I tweak that warm-up a little bit. Speed development is what we're doing on Friday. And then let's, I'll pull that document up in one moment, but we have a speed development warm-up. When you see that, that is Jeff Bullay's warm-up. Okay, so speed development warm-up, we're just doing Jeff's warm-up there. And then we're doing speed development and we're doing red hard. This is our first day doing the hard post run, okay? This is going to be a longer day. This is a day that's probably going to take you, how long is it going to take? At least 40 minutes, maybe even more like 50 minutes or an hour, okay? Because teaching this warm-up, we're still, even though it's a 13-minute warm-up once they learn it, we're still closer to 20 for this. Speed development, because we're taking a lot of breaks and walking in between, they should be walking in between those various sprints. I'll show that in a moment. And then red hard is only about a 15-minute routine, but you're going to have to teach them some of the stuff in there. So now we're looking at 20, 25 minutes. So plan on Friday for this to be a long day. One of the things you could do is if you only wanted to meet them twice in the week, you could meet them Monday, and then you could do something super easy Tuesday. I would rather them do the speed development day on Wednesday for their hard day than the circuit. And you could argue that either way. But one of the things we're going to do with middle school kids is we really want them running fast. Now, remember what speed is. Speed is not a repeat 400. Speed is not a 200 at 800 meter pace. Speed is how fast can you run for 30 meters. We want these kids flying. So I keep saying we're going to talk about the speed development document. We'll go right into that now, but just remember speed, the way you've used it in the past, and this is not to be critical, but you've probably used it incorrectly. You're probably not using speed as the fastest running these humans can do, okay? So get this out of your head. 10 by 400 at 1600 meter pace or 6 by 200 at 800 meter pace are not speed because athletes can always run faster than that. We're looking at for 20 or 30 meters, if we set up cones and they ran into it and boom, they hit it hard for 20 or 30 meters and they ran out of it, how fast is that chunk right there? Now, to extend this a little bit, there's going to be times where from a standing start, we might run 60 meters fast. And technically, if you're somebody who understands acceleration mechanics and whatnot, they're decelerating. I'm still going to put that under the heading of speed, okay? And if we posted this on Twitter, I'd have all of these people tell me I'm wrong. What speed is not is a 200 at 800 meter pace. Okay. And then anything longer and slower than that is not speed. Okay. Let's hop into the speed development workout. Okay, here we go. Speed development. Speed development warm-up in this day and age is just Jeff's warm-up, okay? So exactly the warm-up you have access to, we're doing that. 20-meter acceleration. This is from a standing start. Oh, I'm going to take a step back here. You could argue with all of this that there is, actually, I'll keep it that way. You could argue with all of this that we should be doing these in different orders, okay? We're going to go acceleration to wickets, and wickets are another way to say mini hurdles, okay? But we're going to use the term wickets. And then we're going to do flying 30s. And we're not actually going to do that, if you look at that, until week 6, or not till week 6, until day 6. So this is a progression. This is a safe progression. You have to follow this. The first question you should be thinking is, wait, what if Johnny or Susie misses day 3, and I got all my other kids who showed up? Johnny and Susie got to stay on day 3. Okay. If you want to keep your kids injury free, you have to stick to this progression. So we're going to do 20-meter accelerations. for 20 meters, and you don't have to measure this exactly. You roughly know what 20 meters looks like. Put a cone down or have them at a line and say we're going as hard as we can. Now put a cone down where you want them to run through. They are not hitting the brakes with these with this acceleration. And it's funny, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm thinking, man, my good friend John O'Malley, if he saw this, I know what he'd say. He would say, Jay, distance runners are bad at acceleration mechanics. Okay, I absolutely agree with that. I also think that we're going to strengthen kids in a way that's going to be helpful long term when they're sprinting. Let's take a step back. What would the perfect foundation? All right, I want to make a point here about swimming and soccer as what would be ideal and why we're doing acceleration mechanics to kind of mimic what kids would have had in soccer, right? If a kid was playing midfield in soccer, they would be sprinting after the ball over and over and over, right? If they're a swimmer, they're building their aerobic engine, okay? If they could only do one, I'd want to take a soccer player in middle school to have them be a cross-country runner in high school. You might have kids who played youth soccer, when they were little in first grade, second grade, and are coming to you, maybe a little burnt out on soccer and want to run cross country. That's great. And that's where I'm saying all your kids who haven't had that background, we're going to do these accelerations for 20 meters. So what we're trying to do with middle school athletes with these accelerations is build that strength, that lower body strength with doing some accelerations. Now, I know distance runners are bad at acceleration mechanics. I'm saying that I think they can improve when they do it over and over. And if we go back to what would be a great foundation of athletics to come into cross country with, it would have been soccer, where they would have been doing this. Okay, on day one, we do the warm up. We do 2 20-meter accelerations, and we're just starting at a line. We put a cone out 20 meters. Tell them to run through it. Do not hit the brakes at the cone. Now, you're going to tell them that. Tell them it a second time. They're still going to do it. Okay, that's fine. But if you think about it, if they sprint hard for 20 meters, we should have at least 30 meters, maybe 40. I did this with my 5th grader. I should say with my daughter, who's in 5th grade. We did this other day, and once she got this idea that she's supposed to run out of it, she's going about 40 meters. Okay, so we're going to do that twice. What's our recovery? We walk back. Now, I'm going to leave it up to you. If you've got to get going with practice, even though all the science for the central nervous system is going to say, hey, we need a 3-minute recovery between all these things, just don't have them jogging. We're not running these and jogging back. Now, if you have a type A kid, this is typically going to be more of an issue with your high school athletes. But if you have a type A kid who says, coach, I'm not going to be able to get fit if I'm not jogging, just you've got to tell them, hey, what we're doing today is more technical. We're getting fast. And the way we get fast is to have more rest. Okay. So that's really important that you sell them on that. Now what we're doing is we're doing the wickets. We're going to run through them 2 times, 6 wickets. If you're like, oh, what do we do with wickets? You just read this thing right here. So a slower middle school athlete, we're going to do about 8 steps to W1 is wicket 1. And then this is the spacing, 3 foot, 10 inches, 3 foot, 10 inches. Basically, we're doing 3 at that spacing. We're going to do 3 at 4 feet. And we're going to do 3 at 4 feet, 2 inches. The spacing that I know works, I'm going to highlight it, are these 4 right here. These are spacings that I know work for high school athletes. I think a slower high school athlete could typically be your faster 7th or 8th grader. So these all work. I have to admit, this is my best guess for middle school kids with this average middle school and slower middle school. I will also say that I'm very fortunate that my 5th grader and I went out and played with the spacing on this. And I think there's positives and negatives to both spacings. I know they're going to work. This idea of sprint coaches talking about shapes, right? So when that foot is on the ground, how does the rest of the body look? Do we have a shank, right, from the knee to the ankle? So it's basically that lower leg. Is that upright or is it this way? There's all these things that we can talk about in terms of biomechanics later in the cross-country training system. I don't think you need to overthink those things now. I think what you want to say is, we'll go back to this part, is on the first day, we're going to do Jeff's warm-up, and it's going to be great. We're going to do 2 accelerations. We're going to set up 6 wickets and we're going to sprint through them. And so we do a total, this is the total running reps 4 days. And that's going to be a fun practice. And we're going to end with red hard and everybody's going to be tired and then they're going to be a little bit sore. But if you remember this, we're doing this on Friday and then we take Saturday and Sunday off. Okay. Now the progression is very simple. We're doing 2 accelerations. Then we're doing 3 wickets, which gives us 5 reps. Now we do 3 accelerations on day 3. We're running through the wickets 3 times. So that's 6 reps. Now we do 3 to 4. And there's, with all these, when it's 3 to 4, 3 to 4, 3 to 5, 3 to 4, you do less. When in doubt, do less. Because if you pay attention to here, we're doing more wickets here. Okay. So these 2 days, day 4 and 5 are the same day. And then the final thing we're going to add starting in day 6 is flying 30s. So the flying 30 is you're going to put out cones that are 30 meters spaced apart. And you're going to give kids, you're going to give kids about a 15, maybe a 20 meter run. And I think with a middle school athlete, 15 meters is fine. But we're just giving them a 15, 20 meter run in. We've got 30 meter cones. You don't need to time this. If you want to get really technical with 8th graders and 9th graders and have a free lap system, this is the type of thing you would use that system for. But the bottom line is they're accelerating into it. Boom, they're going to hit it hard, and then they're going to run out of it. And they're definitely going to go 30 or 40 meters with this. They could even go 50 meters. Now, the question is, should we be doing this on the track? Should we be doing this on the turf? I like a lot of this on the turf. I also think that once we get to this point in the progression, which is, what is it, day 6 or 7? It's day 7, I think. No, 6. Once we get to day 6, if you wanted to do this part on the track, I think that's fine. But I also think doing it on the turf makes a lot of sense as well. So, and then that's what we do. We're doing, 2 flying meter, 30 reps the next day. And then this day, we're basically on day 8, we're keeping things the same. This idea, from day 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, we're just keeping things consistent. We're going to have 2 days back to back where the volume is roughly the same. Okay, so I'm just going to let you read this part about wickets, mini hurdles you can buy. Oh, this is actually very important. There's a link down here. You do not have to buy mini hurdles. And I actually think what you really want to do is buy these paint stir sticks. Home Depot sells 21-inch ones. Amazon sells 21-inch ones. You can get 100 of them from Amazon for essentially $90 or $80. I think that's a good investment. You need, if you go back to our spacing here, sometimes we're using 8 to 10. You're only going to need about, you're only going to need 2 or 3 types of spacing, but you might want to have that. I mean, if you have a big team of like 50 kids, you're going to want, basically 6 rows of that, right? You might have two rows for slower kids, 2 rows for medium kids, two rows for faster kids. And if you did that, and then you wouldn't need that the first week, but by here, now you need 60 of these. Okay. Either way, I like doing these paint stir sticks as opposed to the actual wickets you can buy on Amazon, for mostly because they're inexpensive. But the other thing is, and Coach Tony Holler, the Feed the Cats coach, was the one that made this point on a podcast. He's like, you might have some kid hit all the wickets as you've got 6 or 8 or 10 set up, and then it messes everything up and all the kids laugh and it's a big thing, right? So yeah, that's our speed development day. All right, so now let's go back, and now that we know what that is, now I'll go through the training a little bit quicker. We'll go day by day. We'll look at the progressions, and we'll see what workouts, what engine building, aerobic workouts we'll be doing. Okay, so here we are. We just finished speed development day 1. Now you can see we were 10 minutes the first day. Going into week 2, we're 12 minutes. Circuit, we're going to keep the same, 15 to 20. I really think they should take a day off in week 2, okay? But if they do run, we're looking at a 7-minute run, and we're more strides, okay? We're doing 6 strides. Oh, and on the first day, we're doing 6 strides now, okay? So it's a short run, but 6 strides. Again, remember these kids ran track, so they ran the 1,600 and the 800. They might have run the 3,200. 12-minute run with 6 strides, speed development, and the same post-run days here. We're just doing barefoot on the days we do the circuit because we did the exercises there, and we do red hard. Okay, So this week of training is harder because we're doing speed development twice. Okay, so we're going to do speed development on day 3, and then an athlete who's coming with, an athlete who's doing some things like pedestal and some other core work, or maybe has been in the weight room. Now they can maybe go to orange hard. Okay, but read this: do not move to orange hard unless they can handle it. So if they don't look good doing the red hard here on this day, like if they're really struggling with that, we just stay with red. We are, remember, we're not only are we taking a 10, 20-year view of their training, we're thinking also about the fact that we've got multiple weeks to train this summer. So we're in no rush. Okay, so now if we're doing speed development, we have to have an easier day Tuesday, and then we'll go for a longer run, 13 to 15 minutes. Now we're doing the progression of strides, okay? So this is a PDF that's linked to here. This is the progression of strides document where it goes A, B, C. They're probably ready for C at this one, because if you read that, you're just doing 4 by 100 meter strides at 5K effort. I should go back here. When it says 4 by 100 meter strides on the turf this first week, that's just having fun. Okay, tell them to just run kind of fun, like the way this is an athlete who ran track. Say, hey, run 100 meters at about mile pace, or about 1600 or about 800 meter pace. This is just fun stuff. Once we get to week 3, now we're trying to follow that progression there, and we'll eventually get down to where we're running hundreds at 800 meter pace and 400 pace. Okay, Friday, speed development day 4. So now we had a hard day for our post-run work here, and we had 2 hard post-run days. This Wednesday, it says red or orange hard. And feel free, like if it's hot outside or if they looked a little tired on this run, to just give them easy here, okay? This is, when I'm looking at this, maybe we're getting a little greedy there by having 3 hard post-run days. Okay, now what we're doing here in week 4 is we're doing speed development day 5. We're going to do speed development day 6 on Friday. So we got those 2 speed development days in. Now we've moved to orange hard, because if this athlete has run track before, right, they ran track prior, 3 weeks with us, the difference between red and orange isn't that bad. The big, I shouldn't say bad, but the big jump is going to be from orange to yellow. Okay, here's our first workout. 3 minutes easy, then 8 minutes or 8 to 12 minutes of 1 minute on, 2 minutes steady fartlek, 1 minute easy, followed by progression of strides. So what we're looking at here, let's say it's the longest. It's 3 minutes, 12 minutes, 1 minute. So we're looking at 16 minutes, and then the progression of strides is probably going to take us, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes. They get a jog in between there a little bit. And this is the longest run they've done. This week, now we're training for real. And the idea here, what I want you to understand is we've been really conservative for 3 weeks with an athlete who ran track prior. They're going to be getting antsy. They want to run more now. Now in week 4, we're able to do that. And what most coaches would do with a kid who had run track prior is they'd get after at week 1. You just got to trust me on this. We have plenty of time. If they're joining you in June, even if they're joining you in July, we're a long ways from October. We want the 4 best races, or the 3 best races, or the 2 best races of the year in October. As we work backwards, we have a lot of weeks to be able to get there. The other thing too, and I'm embarrassed I didn't say this, now we're running over 20 minutes. We're running continuously for 16 minutes in week 4, and we're running strides. If you think about how far are they going to race, they're going to race 3,200 meters, right? You've got some kids on your team, hopefully, who are going to run 16 minutes or faster. So they're already running the distance in practice that they're going to race in the race, okay? So this to me is an exciting week. But if you're saying, Jay, I don't understand why week 4 isn't week 1, there's my rationale. And here's the deal. You can do whatever you want. You purchase the cross-country training system. You're in. Here we go. But the cross-country training system keeps kids injury-free. And when you deviate from it, you have to be responsible for some of those outcomes possibly being shin splints, tight hamstrings, tight IT bands, things like that, okay? Is this progression safe? Yes. Is it overly safe? It's probably overly safe. But what does it lead to? Injury-free running, which leads to kids having fun, which leads to fast racing. Okay, I don't mean to belabor that point, but let's keep going through this. So now what we're doing, and this gets cut off a little bit, speed development day 7 on Monday. We're doing speed development again on Friday. We're doing Orange Hard. Oh, and they will not have Orange Hard memorized this first week because it's new. Even in this second week, go easy on them when with your expectations around that. Okay. So now what we're doing here is we're doing the same fartlek, 1 minute on, 1 minute steady, and we're doing 8 to 16 minutes of that, and then we're doing the progression of strides. I guess I didn't explain. Remember at the outset I said you have to read the article. I'm forgetting this 1 minute on, 1 minute steady workout is explained there. A fartlek, I'm not going to go into this because you just need to read that article and you'll understand what those what the workout is. But please ask questions underneath this video and I'll answer them there. But why don't we keep going through this and you can just see how things progress. So the reason we did the same workout back to back is because they don't know how to do it in week 4. And in week 5, we're teaching them to learn to run by feel, and they're going to get a little bit better at it. What we're going to do in week 6. So what we're going to do in week 6 is we're going to have a different workout here, and we're still doing a speed development Monday and Friday. The reason we're going to keep speed development Friday the same as Monday and not, we did this the week before here, is because there's just a lot of training going on this week and there's a lot of volume. So we don't need to keep progressing those speed development days. So same thing here on Monday, speed development day 8 on Monday and on Friday. Those are hard days. Now, they could run more today is what I'm saying on Wednesday, but we want them to run fast in this workout. So we don't need a longer day in terms of them being on their feet. So we're only doing 3 minutes easy and 1 minute easy as their cool down, 8 to 14 minutes of 30 seconds on, 90 seconds fartlek. Here's the deal. If kids are running pretty fast on their 30 seconds, that's fine. What we really want, I want them running faster than cross-country pace for 30 seconds. If this is 30 seconds fast and the 90 seconds is not steady and it's just their easy run pace, and if anything, it's maybe a little slower, take that this first time, right? It's going to be hard to teach, a 7th grader and an 8th grader to learn to run by feel. We don't even expect our freshmen in high school to have that dialed in. Okay. So I really want you to err on the side of this workout being faster. Yeah, so we're doing that in week 6. Week 7, we're coming back with the same thing. We're doing more running, and again, the same principle of let's do the same workout 2 weeks in a row, 90-second fartlek, or the 30-90 fartlek. Now, the Orange Hard is kind of dialed in. It's challenging, but they know how to do that. We're doing speed development day 9, speed development day 10. Okay, this is where we're going to do some different things today. We're going to do, so I'm going to fast forward to week 9. 9 weeks into the training, if kids have been running all summer, they need to do something fun other than race. Now, if you want to send kids to a local 5K, that's fine. It'd be better if there's a road mile. That's what we would like, right? If it's mid-July and they've been with you for 4 or 5 weeks, take away a training week. Don't get greedy with other training. Say, hey, on Saturday, we're running a road mile. We're going to do speed development on Wednesday this week. All the other days are easy days. You can make something up that way. But if you don't have that opportunity in your area or in your town, what I want to do on week 9 is do a time trial. So let's look at that and then let's work backwards. So what we're doing in week 9 is you've got this time trial here, 1,000 meters or 1,200 meters. You can do it in a park. You can do it on the track, whatever. If we go back before that, let's practice our pre-race warm-up day. Typo there. If you don't have a meet this time of year, you want this is all messed up. What I'm trying to say is if you don't have a meet this time of year, you want a time trial on this day. And that's why we're doing a pre-race warm-up this day. The pre-race warm-up or the pre-race day also has a pre-race post-run. And I'll link to those documents here. But yeah, this is just a time trial. So if we go backwards, we're still taking Saturday and Sunday off. We're going to do speed development here. We're going to do our workout here. But now we're going to come back with a circuit. And yet I'd say what's almost more, I wouldn't say it's more important, but we're going to practice our pre-race warm-up here. And this is, I just think it'd be great to practice it here. They do it here, practice it one more time, and then boom, Tuesday. I mean, it's on. We're trying to see where we're at with our fitness here. So the circuit's going to be really hard, but the pre-race warm-up is what they're doing. Orange, hard day. Oh, and I screwed this up. This, I'll adjust this for you. This should be barefoot 1 or barefoot 2. Okay. Now let's go to our time trial. We have a race day, post-run day. Then we just have an easy day the day following it. Orange easy. This is something you really need to understand. When we're doing a time trial on Tuesday, we need to run the next day because we need to get the oxygen-rich blood to their legs, okay? So we never want to race and then nothing the next day. Now, if you're thinking, Jay, in the cross-country season, we're going to race on Saturday, they can't do anything Sunday, you really want to encourage kids, hey, can you go for a brisk walk? Not a walk with the dog who stops, to sniff things the whole time. We're talking about a brisk walk or an easy bike ride. So we always want something that next day. And you might consider, having a really light day on Monday. But the bottom line is we need to do something the day after the day after they do the time trial. But then when we come to Thursday, now it's just ultimate Frisbee. This could also be a great day to take a day off. I think some post-run Orange Easy might be fun, but you could totally cut that out. And then today is another really easy day. We're doing Orange Hard. If you're saying, why are we doing that? Because of the time trial here, there's probably going to be some soreness Thursday. There could even be some soreness Friday. Probably not with as young as they are. But yeah, we're just doing, really easy stuff there. Okay, in week 10, what we're doing is considering doing yellow, the yellow progression, okay? So we've got yellow hard after a speed development day. We've got another speed development day on Friday. Could be yellow hard. We're doing a progression run here. If you have any doubt, if you have kids and what is more likely going to be happening, if you get this far into the training, I should also say there's a lot of you that won't get this far into the training because of vacations and whatnot. We're talking about phase 1. Phase 1 is from the start of practice in the summer to the official school start practice. So we're typically talking sometime in June to the beginning of August. And that's typically, if you started on June 15th and you got to August 15th, you might be able to get in 10 or 11 weeks, right? Phase 2, as you probably know, is the first day of official practice to the first important meet. That's a short phase. And then phase 3 is that first important meet to the end of the season. Point being, if you get to this, then you might have the kids doing yellow post-run work. But don't say to yourself they have to do yellow. If we don't progress from red to orange to yellow, we're not doing a good job. If yellow works for your kids, do it. But don't make that an end-all be-all in the training. So, but that's why we have it here. Could be orange or yellow in week 10. Orange or yellow hard, orange or yellow hard, orange or yellow hard. Let's go back to one thing. For them to be able to move on to yellow, this whole week 9, the orange post run, like orange hard here would have had to look really good. Okay, now we're doing a progression run. So we're doing the same 3 minutes easy to warm up, 1 minute steady. I should also say, for your kids who are doing the cross-country training system in high school, we don't run just for 3 minutes, right? We're going to run for 7 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes. We're going to do 7 minutes with strides in, and then we're going into our run. So this is not, this isn't the normal warm up for a run. But again, we're trying to keep the volume really low for these kids. Okay. So we do that. Now the progression run. So the question is, what's the progression run? I think it's 3 minutes steady, 3 minutes a little bit faster. And then the key thing you tell them is 3 minutes fast, but controlled. If you feel like they can handle 4, 4, and 4 to do a 12-minute one, I think that's fine. The reason I'm having such a short one today and saying we would only do 9 to 12 minutes of a progression run, we want them to be running fast. Your best kids, that last 3 to 4 minute segment, don't time them. Don't tell them to time it, but they should probably be running race pace. Okay. If they ran a little faster, that's fine. This is a continuous progressive run, and we want them to have the sensation of running faster and faster and faster. Okay. So this is a really cool day, and we're going to do this the next week as well, or 2 weeks later. And then they can really get after it. Now, if you get all the way to week 11 and you haven't had a race, let's do a time trial again. Here's the deal. It's fun to do a 1600. except that they might compare themselves to what they did in track, and they haven't done any track specific workouts. I like the 2,000 meter time trial for kids that are going to run 3,000 meters in the race. But if you feel like the kids really want to run the 1,600, and here's the deal, if you just know, looking at them every day, hey, if we run a mile time trial, they're going to crush what they ran in the spring. Obviously, that's going to really help them with confidence. I mean, not help them. They're going to have a ton of confidence, right? But if it's up to me, I do the 2,000 meter time trial and try and have them run fast. They don't have a sense of what a good time for 2,000 meters is. Okay. But for you, we want them running faster that day that they're going to race hopefully a week or two later. Right. So this is an odd distance. Oh, and I really think these two should be on the track just because mentally, this kid has run track already. And so they, from, a distance kind of spatial way they understand what's going on. The other thing you could do is 2 or 3 loops, in a park somewhere. And it's fine to do, roll out 1,600 or 2,000 meter course, but I'd actually like you to see them doing, circles, loops, doing something a couple times and trying to speed up. Okay. So that's that. Same thing as last time. Easy run, ultimate frisbee. Then we'll do a short run, but we'll do hard post run. And then the final workout here is the fartlek. Now you can go 3 to 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, and another 3 to 4 minutes. So this one's significantly harder, but it could be as short as 12 minutes, could be as long as 16 minutes. What you tell them on, I didn't enlarge that for you. Just to show you this. So what you need to tell them here is on this segment, 3 to 4 minutes steady, we are taking it real easy here. But then we're going to speed up. And then this one, they can go hard. If they're 12 weeks into the summer with you, and they've really been showing up every day, you should let them run that last section hard. And I'm especially thinking about boys who are competitive, who've played other sports. You should let them run hard. Here. Now, here's the bottom line. Almost no one's going to get through all 12 weeks. And, you're watching this video. I will have phase 2 and 3 in a separate video. I'll do a color coordinated thing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Colorado State schedule. We are a state where there's a middle school championship. It's a really cool event, actually. And I'm going to put that in October and then work backwards. We're going to assume kids aren't going to run postseason after that. But what it's really going to do is show you June, July, August, September, October. If I were the middle school coach and I had that Colorado State championship and I had kids who had run track, I think I'm going to write it for an eighth grader. I think this next part of the training is maybe the most impactful part for your program. We have a training progression for kids who either A, didn't do track before joining you, or B, have never done any sports before joining you, or what's going to be a lot of kids is they have done some sort of sport in the past, but they weren't doing anything, let's say in May, and they're joining you. So we're going to call this no prior athletic activity. Now, that one group that we just described who has played soccer or swam or something maybe doesn't fit in here. But I think what you'll find is this is the most conservative progression we have. And if you need to, you can meld the one we just have gone through where they've run track with this one. Okay. So this one's going to be super conservative. And I really want you to embrace this idea that on the very first day, if they do a dynamic warm-up and they've never been an athlete and they do red easy, that's going to be really hard. Okay. So let's just have them do 5 by 100 meter strides on the turf. Okay. And I know you might say, Jay, Jay, this is cross-country running. Cross-country kids want to run. Yes, just have them do strides, okay? Trust me on this one. Trust me on these first few weeks here. Now, I do think they can do a circuit on day 2, but we're just doing it for 10 minutes. This is not 10 minutes of running. This is 10 minutes total. So a lot of exercises and a little bit of running in between, then they do barefoot. They really should take this third day off, okay? But if for some sort of almost like a safety reason or, there's an older sibling on the team, if they need to be there that day, we're doing 5 strides again. And then Thursday, they would do 5 to 6 strides. And then on Friday, they would do the speed development day. So now this looks similar to what we did in the past. It's just all we're doing again are strides on day one, 5 to 7 strides, strides on Thursday, and we're not going for a run plus strides. Okay. We get to week 3. This week's harder. Okay. Now we're going to let them do the progression of strides. And we're going to let them go for a 5-minute run on Tuesday and do the progression of strides. On Wednesday, they can do a 5 to 8-minute run in the progression of strides. Thursday, 5-minute run in the progression of strides, and speed development day. Now, I think this is a day where this is a week where if you don't want them to run on Friday, that's great. If you only want them running 3 days a week, that's great. But the idea here is I think they can hop in and try the hard day and do the speed development days. But I think what you're going to see on these days is these are kids, a lot of them who are, if they've never done any athletic training, they're going to look really weak. If they've played basketball, or they've played soccer, or they've played baseball or something else, they're going to be fine in week 3 doing all this stuff. And this is where you need to take these principles I'm teaching you and adapt it to what you're doing. And if you're only working out 2 or 3 days a week, I'd say speed development twice. Speed development on Monday, maybe you don't meet them on Tuesday, speed development day on Wednesday would be great for these kids. Whereas with your other kids, you might send them out for, they might be doing a little more running or doing the circuits. So I'll just go through this quickly here so that you can see that, hey, we're being really patient with things. They do get to do the workout here on week 4, but it's only 4 to 8 minutes. So 3-minute warm up. The most they would run is 8-minute, 1-minute cool down. So we're at a 12-minute run here. And that's a really big jump for them. It could also be as short as an 8-minute run, which is what they've done back here. That probably makes a little more sense. I think 8 to 10 minutes really, really makes sense. In week 4, this is something where you'll have a good sense of where these kids are. And then we're still following what we did in the past in terms of what the workouts are. So we've got a fartlek workout, then we've got the 30-90, then we've got the 30-90, we've got a circuit here, time trial, all that stuff. But the bottom line is, I want you to buy into what that very first day is, what that first week is, and the idea that on the very first day of cross-country practice, if somebody's never done anything athletically, they do the warm-up, they do the post-run work, and they just do 5 strides. And then a couple days later, they do the warm-up, they do the post-run work, and in between, they do 5 strides. Because remember, that warm-up is plenty for them in terms of just having no athletic background and having to do some things. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. I hope you found this useful. Okay, you want these PDFs, right? We've got a 15-page PDF. We've got all the training, 12 weeks of training. How do you get that? The link below takes you to this, the Cross Country Training Essentials course. It's a free course. You can enroll for free at that link below. You're going to get all that information. More importantly, I shouldn't say more importantly, as importantly, you're going to get all these videos from my cross-country training system. That's my flagship course. It's mostly for high school coaches, but it's got all the training for middle school coaches as well. This would take you, we talked about phase 1 in this video. Phase 1 is the first day of summer training to the first day of official state-sanctioned practice. Phase 2 is that first practice day to the first important meet. Not the first meet, the first important meet, which I explained in the course. And then phase 3 is that first important meet to the state championships, if you're fortunate enough to have a state middle school championship. Bottom line is there's a ton of information. There's hours of video, not hours of videos that aren't cool, aren't useful, but hours of concise videos, tons of PDFs. You're gonna get that for free at this link below, the Cross Country Training Essentials. Okay, it's YouTube. You know what I'm gonna say now. It'd be awesome if you like this video. If you wanna subscribe, that'd be great. Click the bell for notifications. The most important thing, ask comments below. I will answer your questions, unless they're like weird, spammy questions, but I will answer your questions in the comments section. And yeah, I look forward to interacting with you. And one final thing, check out these other videos about training.